Okay, all right, guys. Give me a quick second to get things set up. I apologize for being a little late. So, just getting the just got a new internet connection not too long ago on Thursday, and it's kind of delayed me just a tad bit. But here we go. We are on the webinar. It's been a long time no see. I know everybody's been here, uh, going back and forth. Um, People having questions. I know I've been seeing somewhere on where is it, on Twitter, CEOs AOL absent. Well, I used to be in the military. That's absent without leave. Um, but actually, I'll explain what happened. Um, Happened last weekend. Why I was not on, why I wasn't on the channel. But yeah, it's the case. It's good news. But I'm glad to be back. Glad to chit chat. Yeah, dude, I'm exhausted. So um, we're covering a few things today, and I know some of you are irking to really get down to business and find out, you know, what the hell are we doing, where are we going. There are updates to dev are done without compensation. Yeah, Mosey. There's also at the same time, I saw he made a push. I'm not getting any compensation either. So just to put it out there and make it clear, he was given funds, or we gave funds to John back in, what was that, February, for the dev to get compensated. But it's the case that link mage full. But we gave the funds back to John way back in February, for the dev to do the work. So it was enough to carry the dev for about 3 months based upon the rate that we knew. And at the same time, this is an open source project. Anybody can contribute to it. So it's at the point, does everybody need to be at the point where they're getting paid? It would be nice for everybody to get paid. I don't get paid, but it's at the point where he was given funds. Funds were given to John back in February to cover a dev for at least 3 months. So that was the donations that were given. Donations that were given back in February. At the time, it was about 800 or so. You should not be giving compensation. You do not give funds. The community raised funds. Now I gave my personal funds. So now you stop. Now you're telling me I'm lying. So tell me who paid the fee to get on X-rays. Tell me who paid the for the marketers to come on board. The marketers who didn't show up. Who paid the listing fee for us to get on various exchanges? No, 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 no. Well, I personally told. Look, and now Mosey, I see now that you are on the side of Jean. Jean hasn't communicated with me in over 2 months. So, no, it's at the point now. At that point in time, I can send you emails if you'd like, where Colin and I both told John, get the dev to begin to do the work. So I'm not going to sit up here and debate with you, because this is the first thing you want to pull. If you want to come and debate one-on-one, and you're saying that you keep doing things no one is asking for it. Well, if no one is doing anything, nothing gets done, because everyone seems to be appearing to hold me totally accountable. If you want to be held accountable, come on, let's be at the position where you be held accountable for your actions. So yeah, I'm gonna stay focused. Mosey, if you want to stay online and carry this on Discord, let's carry this on the Discord, because it looks like you are now the CEO of the community and you know everything that goes on. So that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and move forward, because it looks like Mosey is on his individual rant. So I'll stay focused. The LPC change merge. The change merge date is actually set for August the 15th. So we're going to merge both LPC and LGS into one chain, and this is going to be August the 15th. So now the swaps will actually, well, there will be a chain snapshot the day before, and at the same time, there will be new wallets on the XChainZ platform. So you would need to be in a position where you have an XChainZ account, you logged onto the account, you have both your LPC wallet, your LGS wallet, and the new wallet for, and at this point we're considering what the name would be, whether it's going to be LPC, whether it's going to be XChainZ, whether it's going to be something different. So right now, let me tell you something, Mosey. I'm managing the chain. I'm building a new blockchain. So there's no one else responsible because it's me. So I will do the merge. So that's me. So it's at the point where I've been debating over the past few months, and this has been well since February, that you, the community, voted to have the dev that we had on board, have him kicked out of the community. So that was something the community decided. So the community decided to get rid of the dev. The community didn't have a plan in place to actually put another dev in place. So it was at the point we brought on other members of the team. So now it's in the position where I'm managing the blockchain. I will be building the blockchain in the language that I am most comfortable with. I've investigated several chains, had conversation with members of blockchains in the language in which I'm comfortable, and they've pushed forth on it. So I'm developing the new blockchain. I will be managing that chain. So everything will be 100% held accountable for me. So now there will be no excuse at this point in terms of who's running the blockchain, who's paying the dev, because it all boils down to me at the end of the day. Everything that's been happening so far, it's been on other people, but yet you all have been attempting to hold me accountable. At that point, so it's going to be a Python-based language, and modules that are optimized in C imported. So it's at the point that there are chains that have been built already on using the Python-based language and actually masternode blockchains. So now it's to the point where I will be extending that out as well to our new blockchain, which will have additional features that aren't necessarily readily available for the things that we will be doing in the future. And there's actually some things that we're doing now. Like for instance, when you look at our web-based wallet on XChainZ, it has IPFS built in. So you could send messages, post messages, and content onto IPFS. This is an additional feature that I will be building into this new chain. So if you decide that you want to stay in the community, that's great. But that merge will be happening August the 15th. If there's something that you feel that you don't want to be a part of, that's fine. A lot of people have already begun to transition. That's totally their prerogative. The market, as you can see here, has totally risen to the point where we had a market cap of $238 billion. There was a lift in Bitcoin, and a lot of people are anxious in terms of what's happening with LPC. Why isn't LPC increasing with the market cap of Bitcoin and of the other altcoins as well? Well, it's the case. Everybody's focused on price. Nobody's focusing on getting stuff done. I helped to push out the XChainZ wallet. I built that out myself. I did not have any support from the community in building out the XChainZ wallet. So it's at the point now where I'm building the blockchain. I will support it, and all questions come to me. I don't have to depend on John, who doesn't give any updates about the dev and what he's doing. I've had communications with the dev on the LPC on GitHub. So if any of you are interested in going to the GitHub and seeing just the interactions that we've had with the dev, in getting the fake stakes, something that which should have been fixed way back in February but didn't get fixed. I had conversations with him, but he's not at the point where he's ready to do a pull request. Once he's ready to do a pull request, then we'll make the move necessary in order to put it up. So now, of course, Mosey, you can go on and say whatever you want at this point. So I'm officially at this point ignoring you. So the LPC LGS chain merge date is August the 15th. You can log on to XChainZ. You can create your wallet. Your LPC and LGS wallet will be there. The new wallet will be there as well. So I will be capturing all amounts that will be on that point. We'll take a snapshot of each of the chains. And then everyone, I don't know how many of the different exchanges that we're listed on will be supporting that merge. We will actually go through that process and begin communicating with them in terms of finding out what it will take in order to do the merge. But if you want to come at this point and you want to argue with me, that's totally fine. That's your opinion. But at the end of the day, you're holding me accountable for things that I don't necessarily have the ability to do in managing the LGS LPC blockchain at this point. All I can attempt to do is give my funds and actually attempt to suggest people will do the things that they're supposed to do. So and I see comments going back and forth, but let me get through some of these topics, and then we can go through and I can walk through some of the questions that you have at this point. But the change merge is August the 15th. We don't want to. I'm not going to sit up here and debate on who did what, but yet there have been people who, and John, he's had funds since August, but yet it's the case. When I say sell coins, selling coins and giving coins to a dev to do work, they're two totally different things. They are independent, so they are orthogonal. So now I'll move on to exchanges. It's at the point where we have, at this point, put in our applications to Bittrex. We have put in our application to Nova Exchange would actually post it, and they said that they would do any of the projects that were listed on Cryptopia. Cryptopia just went out of business, and now they're going through a liquidation phase. They've turned over, they are now in possession, they're now in receivership, where there's a liquidator who's actually attempting to settle all debts and close out the company. So as a response to that, Nova Exchange said that they will list all the projects that were on Cryptopia on their exchange. So this is an exchange that we've already applied to in response to them saying that they would accept projects that were on Cryptopia. We've already submitted our application to Bittrex. We haven't heard anything from Bittrex at this point, and when we do, I'll post it. At the same time, there's another exchange as well, that's the Green Dex, that similar to Nova Exchange, they have opened up the application process for all the projects that were listed on Cryptopia to come onto their exchange as well. No listing fee. So we're in a good position now to list on those exchanges. They're not high volume exchanges, they're low exchanges, and I know people like, we want to get on top exchanges, and that totally makes sense. So that's why we're still waiting on our Bittrex application. So at this point, we have applications submitted on 3 exchanges, and at the same time, earlier this week, I think we were listed on StakeCube's exchange as well. So that's another exchange that you have. But with the exchange we have, we're listed. We have about 20 markets, 20 different markets. And let me go here. Coin. And the markets here. We have about 20 markets listed here. Even the new exchange that we listed on in Asia Pacific, FX Exchange, no one's trading on that exchange. We have lots of opportunity to provide liquidity, but it's the case no one's engaging in transactions. Perhaps you need a reason to sell. I think, and this is my perception, the reason we don't have a lot of volume is because the volume that we have are people primarily trading out and those wanting to buy and coming in. The long-term investors are in. They're not trading, and you guys are in. And you're not trading every day from day to day. Our partners are already in. They already have their master nodes in there, and some are buying, holding for the long term. But with that said, the 3 exchanges, the Bittrex, and then Nova, and then GreenDex, it just adds a few more, which may or may not show any volume at all. Okay, and that's James Page talking about the partners. The partners that we have right now is Lumina Datamatics. So Lumina Datamatics currently uses LPC for paying contractors. It's the position that Lumina Datamatics invested in my first joint venture company, and as a result of the joint venture being merged into Lumina Datamatics, I consult with them as a contractor. I get paid into my bank account going from LPC, BTC into my account. So LPC is being used for that work and paying contractors now. At the same time, there are additional projects that are in development because I have only so much time that I could develop or so much time that I could dedicate towards doing work. I'm limited in pushing forward their projects. And I'll take a pause on chain merge, exchange, and then partners. I know I was answering the question on partners. Um, so I see the price came down because of uncertainty, false promises, high ROI, which is again most of the scam projects has very poor communication and disrespect. That definitely could be the case. A variety of different things that came into play. I think what I did was what I did wrong initially was not necessarily vet all the members of the team before we really pushed out, and that's something as the project got bigger, certain people got exposed, and as a result of doing other projects, and the community didn't like it, and as a result, they asked him to leave. He was glad, he was happy to leave, and he left. At the same time, it was programmed. I didn't do the programming on the chain, so but at the same time, I do take responsibility at the end of the day. We have over 3,000 master nodes worldwide, and I made the decision that yes, we would merge the two projects, LPC and LGS, and that's what I'm doing. Even though it's a soul ship in my development, I said I was going to launch XChainZ, and that was back in December. That's something that I built, and that's something that I did. We said that we were going to get the master node ATMs out. That's something that we said we want to do. That's something that we did. We got partnerships in place. We got Lumina in place. We have my businesses in place, and we actually have some other pilots that we did based on some work I did last weekend, but I'll tell you about it. Coding, marketing, sales on your own. I'll be looking, and James, I'll be looking for people who want to be involved. So right now, I can't trust that there will be people who will come onto the project, and we will be building in a treasury. The treasury will be built in at the outset. So it's around 15-20% will be the treasury. He was happy to leave because he scammed us all and was giving a way out. Yeah, the community asked him to leave, and yeah, he left as a consequence. So, and this is not my first time starting a business. This is not my first time doing a reboot. I've built companies. I built multi-million-dollar companies. I built startups from the beginning. Did everything. Did the sales. Did the marketing. Did the research. Did the development. Did the deployment. Did the iterations. And this is just another feather in the cap for me in being able to do this project. Whether you all trust me to not to be able to continue in that work, some of you may leave, and that's totally fine for you to do. But at the same time, I have to work in a space in which I'm comfortable. Right now, calling on John to give progress in terms of what he's doing on his side with the developer, that's something that I haven't had that open communication. We got off to a rocky start. Hadn't been fully open and accountable and open and transparent in terms of what he was doing, even though I asked. But it's the case. Letting bygones be bygones. That's where we are now. Let me see. I'm going to run through. Are you creating a chain from scratch or forking from an existing chain? There were a few different chains that I was considering forking from, but yet it's going to be a combination of a build that I will have to do myself. I have developed code from scratch, have it copyrighted, and have built and used it within applications, but it's no different here in learning that process. And right now, when I say Colin is still on the team. It's the case that Niraj is still on the team, who has been doing great work, by the way, in terms of getting us some marketing. He's been doing a lot of white hat work. He got some recognition from actually the UN because he did some white hat work for the UN and was actually placed in the Hall of Fame. Niraj is still here. There are members who communicate with me on a regular basis on LinkedIn, on Twitter, within the Discord as well. So I still see a core set of members, perhaps not doing development work, but doing other things and contacting exchanges, attempting to build partnerships. Lumina is still on board, even though they see the price going downward. They are still here for the long term. Currently the chain cannot create a treasury. When will you be updating the chain so the treasury is made? That's John's responsibility, Mosey. So ask him. So it's his responsibility because he got the dev. Go ask him. I haven't talked to him. We set initially a time every Sunday to have one-on-one conversation, but yet those calls or those conversations don't happen. So it's at the point I have an open line of communication, but once again, that communication is not happening between me and John. So you can ask him in terms of what's happening on the update on the chain with the treasury. But the new chain will have a treasury, and right now provisionally it's a one-to-one. It's a one-to-one swap. LPC, LGS, one-to-one swap. People are going to complain about, well, we're a little bit higher than LPC or we're a little bit higher than LGS. So it shouldn't be a one-to-one swap, but it's one community. We're building in. So that's where we are. It's because right now it's my responsibility. Yeah, you're right, Kiwi Rocket. It's my responsibility and it's your project. It is my project, but yet someone whom I've delegated responsibility to get things done, he's taking that responsibility. So that's why I say I direct those questions to him. So right now, John is like any other member here who hasn't invested. What I think most of you forget is that I didn't take any pre-mine. I invested just like everyone in the community here. So when are you forking? If you were listening in the beginning, Mosey, what I said in the beginning at the top, which was the first point that we talked about, LGS chain merge date is actually August the 15th. So right now, that's where we are in terms of the chain merge. The swap right now, what I see happening is definitely for sure XChainZ will be one of those wallets that will support the swap. I don't know how many other exchanges are going to support the swap, but XChainZ will support the swap. So right now I'm putting on John because he took the money. I'm putting it on John because he took the money. So if you want to pay the dev, pay the dev. Right now, if I'm not going to go through the process of just explaining how much I put into this because I know everybody's invested money. But yet, I'm the one who decided to take a leadership role in the organization. I've been in a position where I've attempted to be as transparent as possible in helping to manage the project. A lot of people are mad, upset, frustrated that the market has begun to move up and has left LPC. The question that I asked you, Mosey, what have you done in the community? What have you done within the community to actually help support LPC? What marketing have you done? What have you done to, I think you probably created more FUD than anybody else at this point. So we can talk about the BTC I've invested. So right now you want to get out how much. The thing is now, what are we doing to move forward? So what are we doing to move forward? Do we have a plan put in place to be able to go out and do the chain merge on August the 15th? That's your date. Now there's a backwards planning process that's taking place in terms of the platform, everything that we're including within the chain as well, and not necessarily just for cryptocurrency, because I think it's important that the chain have some flexibility for the work that we're currently doing within Lumina and the current work that we will be doing with some of the contracts that I have and contracts we will be bringing on board. And I'll look to talk about that more in the pilots that I just completed last weekend. So I did take a quick pause, and sure, everybody's going through and asking a lot of questions, but let me get through the official schedule of updates, and then we can stay on for another say 15 to 20 minutes to talk about these concerns that you have. So 8 months after the fact, well, did you propose a dev that did you propose a dev that we had way back in February when we got rid of Vlad? No one proposed a dev, but everybody wanted to get rid of him. So with the partners, this past week, it's the case that we did a pilot and have placed on our registered on our blockchain assessment and performance scores or performance results for NFL draft picks. We actually I went to New York. I met with the new head coach for the New York Jets. We were at the practice facility, um, and at the practice facility, we went through and we assessed the draft picks and the rookie free agents that came in as well. So that's one partnerships that we're looking to extend through an organization that I run with Lumina called Most Valuable Recruit. We have contracts with professional basketball teams, and one in particular that we will be registering scores for athletes as well is the New York Knicks. We've been doing pre-draft assessments for the Knicks for a few years now, and now we're placing not only their assessment results, but also some on-court performance results and logging them on our chain. Not necessarily our core mission in terms of what we're doing, but it's just another utility where we can have security, more secure data placed on our blockchain. So now those are two things that are moving now. We're in the point where we're discussing doing the assessment for first team and then first team of the Jets and placing those results on our blockchain as well. That is registering them on LPC and actually storing on IPFS. We have to upgrade IPFS for IPFS for business, so we're transitioning to IBM's IPFS for business, pulling that into XChainZ, and the new platform that we will have and the new blockchain that we will have will also have included IPFS for IPFS for business, because it's the IPFS for business offering through IBM that will be integrated into our chain as well. Okay, so we talked about the merge date. That's August 15th. Let's write it down. We'll also send out a tentative, and right now this is our, in essence, almost like a warning order where it gives you a summary of the things that we'll be doing over the next few months. So we're doing that, going through the backwards planning process, starting this week, and we will give you guys updates leading up to the transition. But the thing that I've encouraged everyone to do now is go ahead and begin to set up the accounts, at least get your account on XChainZ where you can participate in that swap once we actually begin to go through that process. So that's the merge date on the exchanges. The Bittrex application, once again, it's still out. We have already also applied already to Nova Exchange and for GreenDex as well. So those are 3 exchanges, and I'll give you guys an update in terms of like if we get listed, if we don't get listed or not. And then same thing as well as we get more and more requirements from our partners and some of the things that we do, like with the work that's being done with Lumina, with contractors getting paid in cryptocurrency, and at the same cryptocurrency transferred into fiat and being placed into their bank accounts. And also with the work that I'm doing within professional sports with the New York Knicks and with the New York Jets, and placing their data securely on our blockchain as well. We'll need to enhance the capabilities that we have. If we have aspirations of moving successfully into other industries and showing the applications and the potential of blockchain, we should have that capability. At the same time, with that said, this just piggybacks on that. We will be doing shortly an update IPFS for business into the XChainZ application, and as I mentioned before, the new blockchain that will happen on that merge on August will contain that new will contain IPFS for business integrated as well. So at this point, once the merge happens, once the merge happens, all responsibility in terms of the development and maintenance of the chain comes to me. Anyone who is looking to participate or help out, they can come and ask how they could be helpful in the project. And we would go through that process and we'd have a conversation on how they would contribute. It's as I told you guys in the beginning, I'm going to be here to the end. Some of you feel I don't know what you want to call it, either betrayed because there's a because the price is not going up. That's the only thing. Right now, the way that we've registered assessment scores onto the blockchain. We read assessment scores onto the blockchain, so we have timestamps of a variety of different assessment tools that we use. Everything from grit, achievement, motivation, visual spatial intelligence, and this is once again beginning to move LPC blockchain-based technologies into the sphere in which I've done a lot of work that's been very successful doing the work. Yeah, and at the same time, would it be my fault totally my fault for the chain has not been developed for months, even though there have been other individuals to participate? We've asked individuals to help out. That's something that at the end of the day, if you want to blame me, Mosey, let's do this. The only thing that you've done is develop XChainZ. That's wrong answer. The only thing you developed is XChainZ, unrelated to LPC development. Right now, XChainZ hosts the LPC LGS wallets. To say it's not related to XChainZ, not related to LPC, is not true. So right now, enough promises, we need to prove by hard work. And the work that I've done already in terms of getting, and let's stop for a moment. If you read the white paper, and a lot of people say, well, you know, it's the main concern is about a chain maintenance. That's totally fine. The people who were involved in chain maintenance were the same individuals that the community voted to have out. That's something that was not my responsibility when I decided to come into the project to maintain a blockchain. Now, it's at the point I do take some level of responsibility for not being more aggressive and holding people accountable to get some appropriate devs in place. So it's one of the things, if you want to beat me up, which I think Mosey has been doing this entire time, it hosts LPC, but also hosts many other coins. Right now, it hosts 2 coins. It hosts LPC and LGS. That's the only 2 projects on. I do have something in mind whereby we can do cross-chain atomic swaps through the XChainZ platform, but we're not there yet. But it looks as if, for me, seeing the progress that has been taking place with the update of the LPC and LGS chain, I do feel some level of responsibility to get my hands into the code. So that's why I've taken responsibility to do the merge. So now, come August, the merge doesn't happen. It's all on me. I'm saying blockchain is not my space, and I'm totally out. So it will be a new chain. Whether or not it has a new name, if we want to keep the LPC brand, that's something that we have to consider. But you know, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Whatever the new name is, if we need to rebrand, we'll rebrand. But if we want to keep the name, if we keep our same set of partners in place, like CoinLogic, they'll not be able to. Will they support the new coin on the ATM? That's totally up to them. But going back to the point of, like, what was the brand promise? What was the promise that we had in the white paper? The white paper was to launch new ATMs, point of sale devices, and actually begin to evolve blockchain-based, the use of blockchain-based applications in business. So we developed a partnership with the University of Central Florida. We developed the partnership with CoinLogic. We were able to get on a point-of-sale device. We were able to get on ATM machines. That was my responsibility. Those are partnerships that I built. Those are partnerships that I nurtured. Was my core role being a developer? No. Do I develop? Yes. Do I develop in C++? Some, but I'm not strong. That's something that I did not say that I took on that responsibility to do in coming onto this project. My goal was to market, run them out, to actually extend the brand. And that's what we did. Less than 6 months, we built up to the number 8 largest master node worldwide. That was my goal. My goal was just to come in and market. My goal wasn't come in and develop. If my goal was to be a developer, I would have changed my orientation. You wouldn't see me here at all, and I'd be at the point where I put that responsibility on someone else. But and that's fine, Mosey. That's totally fine that you're out. But you can go out. That's if you decide to crash. But we have a plan for people who want to move forward, and that's totally your prerogative. I'm sorry it didn't work out as it planned, but it's the case. If you want to put it all on me, that's fine. But if it candidly, is it all my fault that the community decided to get rid of a dev who was not necessarily as open and candid as we thought? That's something he was discovered. I called him out on a few times. Community called him out. He subsequently left. He saw it as an out. Yes, I do think we may need to rebrand. Too much talk of scam, too much dissension, too many communication channels. Yeah, and it may make sense to start completely over, James. That may be the thing to do. But yet, like I said from the beginning, I'm here the entire time. Also, I'm not going anywhere. So I don't think I have intentionally led anyone down a path where I have scammed or anything like that, because every project is called a scam. It's at the point you have multi-billion-dollar projects called scams. But what have I done? Make me assistant CEO. I have an MBA, marketing and business. And let's have a conversation, because I'm here. And at the same time, I want stand-up folks. I don't want a community where we're going back and forth on conversation in terms of who said what, because it's not useful. I can get along with anybody, and if you're candid and you're straight and you're upfront with me. There are a lot of people who weren't candid, who weren't upfront. I found that out later on as the project progressed, but they weren't candid, they weren't upfront. And that's something that I end up calling them out on. Some folks didn't like it. Some people call me motherfucker, asshole, whatever. But I don't want to be in a position where at the end of the day you say, well, we built the number 9, number 10 masternode project, but at the same time, it was a scam. That's not how the way I roll. It's just at the point where my intentions were honest and they were candid, and I found out this is like the gold rush of 1849. If a lot of you know your history, you would see in the gold rush there were a lot of people who went out who were upfront, stand-up dudes trying to really build a new life, discover what it's like on the other side. It's the case, and this is similar in it that where this is a new technology, it's going to revolutionize the world, but yet people, you're the first ones here. You're still early. You're still early. So only person I wasn't candid with was Vlad, and that's solely on you. So if you want to put it on me, Mosey, that's fine. That's totally your prerogative. But at the end of the day, your gains were your gains. You weren't talking to me like this when you were making all that money back in the beginning of January, in June, July, August, or even September. So now it's at the point where LPC is at a bottom, and now you want to complain. Your gains are your gains, your losses are your losses. So take responsibility and don't blame me. So now it's at the point where I have strategically chosen to move down a different path. If you want to stay along, that's fine. If you want to engage in a swap, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you have to do your own research. So it's at the point where we've gone through this process. But like I mentioned before, we're doing a total rebrand, a total remake of the chain. Whether or not we rebrand, that's something totally different. I think right now we're still in the number 10 position worldwide. I do think we're still in a great position to really make an impact in businesses. As I mentioned before, we do have businesses already on board, so it's just we need to increase that footprint, really focus and understand what we're going to be doing over the next few months, and that's fine. And one of the main things that I can take the brunt, because like I'm say I'm a grown man. I put my pants on one leg at a time, and I can take responsibility. But looking at it like this, the market has now moved from flat to something where it's now beginning to trend bullish. That's a good thing. It's at the position is we're in a position where we have a few different opportunities over the next few months where we catch traction. Whether it's through marketing, like say for instance, we invested 0.25 BTC, or I invested 0.25 BTC in the modern investing to do some marketing for us. I reminded him a few times, and we haven't gotten that marketing as what we paid for. I paid for us to get on different exchanges. Some it worked out, some it didn't. Paid a 1.25 BTC to get listed on X-Rays. There were other exchanges where once again I paid out of my pocket to get listed on. Didn't get credit for that. Didn't say anything to the community, but I just did. Thank you, Mosey. And this is something I can thank you for your encouragement. And please, can you just follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn? So just follow me. So this is not the first time that I've been down. So I can give you a good experience. When I was in high school, I was on the weightlifting team. I was slated to win the state championship. Won the state championship and was disqualified by a member of the team because it was being hosted at their school. I lost that year, but yet I decided that I was going to train harder to come back. Motivated the team. We built our team up to where we won the state championship that next year, and for the next 4 years, our team won the state championship every other year. The year that I won it, the next leading competitor, that is the runner-up at state, we had 4 times higher than their score than the second runner-up. So I'd love to wrestle Mosey since he's talking all that mess, but that's fine. No, that's beyond me. I'm a 45 years old. Mosey probably kicked my ass, but it's the case. I've gone through challenges. I've gone through struggles, not only when as an athlete, but also sure, but also in terms of academics as well, because I didn't get accepted to graduate school to get my PhD. It was at the point where I had the lowest, so-called lowest GRE score of all the people who were accepted. And I had a family friend who pulled some strings who got me into school. That gets us like into this whole college admission scandal, but that's another story. But at the end of the day, the 14 people who were picked before me, it was at the point we started at the same point. I graduated a full year and a half before all of them because I was dedicated. I understood what I needed to do. I know at the same time. And the same thing here. We're in a position. I'm in a position where people don't want to like take responsibility. I can take responsibility. If you want to beat me up, go ahead and beat me up. Yeah, I think you can get Mentos and Mosey. That'll be great. But I'm not going to hate on Mosey because he has valid concerns, and I'm not going to sit up here and act like everything is rosy. But if Mosey's 56 and if Mentos, I don't know how Mentos is, but he folds easily to pressure. So it's at the point I'm looking to build a new team. I'm looking to build folks who are excited, folks who are enthusiastic about really building something from the beginning. I don't know what happened just there. The price has spiked. Maybe it's just us having this conversation. But at the end of the day, just know that we're gonna move on. So I want to build a new team. I want people who are enthusiastic. Maybe I won't be as paranoid as I was in the beginning. After getting burned by Vlad, it's one of the things where it's difficult to trust people in this space. So, and that's something about growing. That's something about being humble and understanding where you are. That's also understanding what you're trying to do and all the people who were involved in investing in this project. So I'm not going to let you down and if you look to trust me in building and launching a new project, that's fine, and I would take your trust and use it as momentum into getting us into more companies, getting us into more organizations, getting us to a point where we're being recognized as a project that was at one point we were in the top 200. We were in the top 200, top 200, top 300, and I think we can get back there. Um, so we have to get rid of the FUD, man. The Discord channel is not positive for me. The Discord channel doesn't give me anything to look for when I get emails saying, "Damon, go on the Discord channel. Listen to what you're saying." If it's not positive, how does it help me to build out the project? I attempt to do as much marketing as I can. I try to zip up problems, and there are things going on still behind the scenes in terms of getting the project right. So anybody who's looking for it, and I'm looking for this to be an opportunity where we can really shift what we're doing, focus on the future, and really build this project out the way that it should be. And I know we're going to get a lot of thumbs down as people wake up in the morning and see, oh, finally, these people hadn't spoken in 2 weeks. Hey guys, like I mentioned to you before, I was at the New York Jets. We were doing assessments. We put assessments results on our blockchain and IPFS. That's a great thing, but some folks don't care. Yeah, you need 3 pillars for a successful crypto project: good leadership, and I'm not going to be super duper and be arrogant and say I'm a great leader. Even though my master's thesis was on leadership, but I think I'm in a good position to be a good leader. One thing about leadership is that you have to be able to admit when you're wrong and taking missteps, and I've done that. I might not have been as careful as I should have in vetting team members and moving forward with them. At the same time, I can apologize for not being as let me see, as open and transparent on Discord coming in, because I know the gym is not on tonight because he's always peppy and trying to keep us in a positive mood, and he requested that I come on Discord a bit more. But me, I'm like everybody else, man. I work a job. I got a wife. I got kids. I got it's something where I have a life outside of crypto, but yet I still dedicate time to building the organization. So it's something that I'll continue to do for the foreseeable future. And like I mentioned before, I'm not going anywhere. So maybe everybody may just leave, and I'm on an island by myself with one master node or 2 master nodes just hanging out. So, but anybody looking to move forward with us, that's great. We'd love to have you along, and we want to try to move things forward. So throw all the hate that you want to me that you can. I know Mosey's probably still on the line, but I want to hear from you, Mosey. Like I said before, once we do the relaunch and we have more partners on board and we're pushing forward, and this is our first year. Hell, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary at the end of this month. So it's at the point we'll be in place in 1 year. Just imagine all the bullshit that Dash went through when they launched, or when PivX went through when they launched. Or even Bitcoin at the end of the day within their first year. It's the case, it's not going to be pretty. So, and it hasn't been. And will we still have some bullshit happen later on the line? Sure, of course. But we have to be resilient. And that's one of the main things that I'll emphasize over and over again. So we're going to have problems, but yet we should be in a position where we understand what the problems are, try to put some procedures in place to fix them, and then move forward from there. Worked small companies where I ran into similar issues like this. Yeah, and I'm dealing with it again right now. That's why these problems don't bother me as much. Yeah, and that shows a level of sophistication and maturity that you have. So some people hadn't gone through building a startup. I've been in a position where you build out a multi-million-dollar company. You generate revenue in that company, but then it's the case you bring on people and you hire them, and sometimes you hire some friends, you bring them on board. But then it's at the point where you have to get your EBITDA right. That's your earnings before interest, taxes, deduction, and amortization, and you have to get those numbers right. And as a consequence, you have to lay some people off. Things don't necessarily go the way it should. You have to tell people, hey, you got to let some folks go. But at the end of the day, you try to keep it moving and do what's in the best interest of the organization. That is, you have fiduciary responsibility to the investors and the people who are in the organization to have it do well. And sometimes it may not work. I'm going to support the Discord more, and I appreciate that link made full, and I don't know exactly how you pronounce it. So I know we all have obligations, and I've been on here enough, and I've been running my mouth. So it's almost a full hour in. And as I mentioned before, the merge date, we're looking at August 15th, guys. Some of the exchanges, we're still looking at the Bittrex application out, the Nova Exchange application that's already in, and the Green Dex, who are supporting the Cryptopia shutdown. At the same time, with the parties that we have in place, we are doing what's coming up this next week. So like I may be busy on a Saturday again. Next week or the week after next, I'll be doing the assessments, pre-draft assessments for the NBA draft. So we're going to start plugging in blockchain-based applications in the work that I currently do. So this is everything from assessment, analytics in sports teams and healthcare organizations, and some of the AI work that I include as well. So when you're talking about computer adaptive testing or recommendation engines based upon AI, this is what I want to be able to. I want to bring everything together, because right now blockchain is kind of segmented from the other work that I do, but I want to be able to build a chain that supports the work that I do every day. So now it's just something that we want to push forward on. And beat me up, Anthony, on the LGS, getting that in. So we must try back Mayonnaise. Anyone here donate donate 1 million? So yeah, I think that's going to be a rough one. We need some more communication on Discord just to calm people down. That market then break because people start to panic, and so we have no info. Can I make a pledge right now? Just to be accountable. Just to be accountable. Here's what I can say, and I'll do. Yeah, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. I know James says basically too late. Yeah, because it's like it's a toxic echo chamber. And that happens sometimes. But what I can pledge to do is for 1 hour every day, I will be on Discord. What that time is, I'm not quite sure, but I will be on at least in 1 hour. So I will sit on the Discord channel. I'll come in. Mostly, I'm going to be coding. And I'll probably have that damn bell on mute every time that there's a ping or something. I have it on mute because I'm coding most of the time. If the chain isn't forked, and everything you promised today isn't done by August 15th, I'll be filing a complaint with the authorities against XChainZ. Just totally fine. That's your prerogative, Mosey. But you have it here in writing from me. I'm the one responsible. So, and let me give you a little insight. Not to say that I'm belittling your threat, because I do take threats seriously. In terms of the meetings, and I did have some initial conversations with personnel from the SEC, because I said it makes sense to build a relationship with them up front before you meet with them on the backside, because it's not pleasant on the backside. Say if you do file a relationship and somebody comes after me. We did build that relationship, and in the meetings that happened, there was a few conferences where the SEC showed up and they just told what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. They mentioned that with the investigators that they have, there are about 3,500 backlogged complaints and investigations. So they're behind in terms of getting, not to say, and once again, I take all threats of litigation seriously, but the question becomes, what did I do in terms of my fiduciary responsibility to the business? Everybody who was here in the beginning, you go back and you look at that old web page that doesn't exist anymore for LPC. Who are the people who are still here? So who are the people who are still here? Is at the point I'm still here. I said I wasn't going anywhere. So I said I'm going to be on Discord. And it's not that I'm like saying, okay, I'm going to do better because I'm thinking you guys are going to see me. Man, it's all about doing the right thing. And this is doing the right thing. There are a lot of people who aren't doing the right thing. So, and I'm in coding, man. I'm coding. If you have questions for me and I'm on the Discord channel, you can send them to me directly. Am I going to sit down and talk about the wife and kids, the future, the Lambo that I'm going to buy? Probably not. In the first bull run, I didn't buy a Lambo. Um, before launching LPC, I didn't buy a Lambo, but it's the case that I was able to buy a minivan for my wife and my kids. So it's just something that I enjoyed that time, but am I going to talk about buying a Lambo this time around? No, not really. So, so Damon, redo your commitment. Barely peek into the room. So I'm giving you guys an hour every single day, and hold me accountable. So I'd say that we're going to put the exchange every week from the last week calls, and I'm doing that. So we're talking about exchanges. Whether or not we're making progress is a whole other story. But for me, I'm I'm building a chain that I can manage, building a chain that will meet the needs of some of the work that I see us doing in the future. Everything about not just currency, but also everything from Internet of Things, being able to have secure records like assessment data that we have from the jets and even from the mix, and including modules for analytics as well. So right now the masternode space is it's dull. So we need funds to recruit and know for which we made, by scamming LGS. Blazer has been sucked up by Vlad, maybe a few more people. Yeah, and it's something that when you look at it in the day, it sucked because as I mentioned before, there were both honorable people and dishonorable people moving into the space. When you look at 1849, go back and like I said, just read what was happening during that point in time. Everybody from the guys selling fake pitchforks to the folks saying, "Hey, throwing in these fake gold in the river and charging excessive amount of fees for guys to come in during plots and come and mine some of that gold." It's a lot of stuff. So a lot of people got hurt, but at the same time, it provided a lot of opportunity for those who persisted to make it through. And we're going through the same thing, but now we're just dealing with digital gold. So, so with that said, let me know your questions, comments, concerns. You can send me a DM on Discord. You can send me a DM on Twitter. You can send me Discord. You can send me something on XChainZ on Twitter as well. And some people there, like for instance, I think Mr. Tarek, he was communicating with me early this morning earlier today on LinkedIn. It comes directly to my phone, so I don't get overwhelmed with the social media, um, like through LinkedIn because that's a professional site, and I typically try to respond to those like as much as I can. So communicate with me. And as I mentioned before, we will be building that treasury into the new merge. So that's something you can hold me accountable for. And it's here. So you have it recording. And that's why I've done webinars like every week, if not every week, every other week ever since this project launched. So who would be someone who had the intention of scanning an entire community, would show his face, tell his name. There are people who could find my name, my address. And there was one dude who actually had my home address, work address, phone number, and everything. So why would I be in a position where I would want to do harm to the community? Because I feel I do have a fiduciary responsibility to do what's best for the project. So with that said, it's 9:33. I've been running my mouth. Hold on, we can build our own project for recruitment. RC coin that falls under human capital management, perhaps. So I don't know if it's going to be some project like Ethereum where you could build on another project and launch it. But at the end of the day, we want. Yeah, that was me. Nice professional chat. Yeah, I met Mr. Tarek. I do appreciate you guys really coming through and asking some of those difficult questions. And we get it all. I get it all the time. So don't think that I'm just sitting back and relaxing and just watching the price of LPC go down every single day. Oh, that's not what I do. Does it hurt when it goes down? Yeah, it goes down. But that's the market. Can't time the market. That's something we thought we were going to do. Hey, we're going to launch LPC in the middle of the summer, and by December, it's the case that we'll see it go to the moon. No, we had to take off. We had to take off those helmets, guys. Take off those helmets and be in a position where we're going to look solid. Should we believe you? Is August very far? Where are the guarantees on your part? So right now, that's what I said. It's one of the things. If you decide to trust me, that's something that's up to you. But as I mentioned before, and I don't think I've deviated from the notion that I said I'm going to be here until the end. Um, that's something where I said I'll do the merge. I'll build the merge. When I first came into the project, so let's do it like this. If you want to back up, let's back up to like when we first launched the project. There were certain things I said I was going to do in terms of getting us partnerships. I got partnership. Getting an ATM, getting us in onto an ATM. That's something I said we did. We had a solid team. I didn't have to worry about. Yes, it's still in my office. So getting a partnership in place. Got a partnership with the largest R&D university in the United States. Getting a company on board. We got Lumina on board. We got a few smaller startups who really came to the office. It was great during that point in time. Thinking I didn't have to worry about development. I didn't have to worry about people complaining about the price, even though they just wanted to see it go up faster. They just wanted to see it go up faster. They didn't care what the hell we were doing, if we were doing development or not. But I was thinking more towards the long term. How do we actually fulfill the promise of getting Masternode ATMs in place? That's what I worked toward. I didn't have any complaints. So maybe you should deploy it so that it's earning. It is earning. So why are we not installing ATMs out of your office? I don't know why you guys are not installing ATMs. I know we have one primarily that's for research and development. We had some customers who actually came to the office and we did demos. At the same time, it's one of the things where it's nothing stopping. No, I don't need a permit for an ATM install, because if you look at the Texas banking regulations, the Texas banking regulation, the way that there are several conditions under which you don't necessarily need to have a money service business license in order to do either an install or even to trade swap cryptocurrencies, as long as there are two parties involved. To the degree that you're swapping on an exchange, bringing that money back to the ATM and then either giving them Bitcoin or giving them cash, that's when it becomes a money service business and you need to register at that point. So not just the masternode, put it out into the public, so it's earning fees. So it earns fees now just from staking. But yeah, we looked at it from a perspective of doing a lot of R&D at the same time. CoinLogic, they continue to do updates. They continue to do updates to the platform in terms of KYC. There's some things that I still would like to improve. And notice they're still a startup too. So everything that they have on their side, it's not perfect. And as we move along, I'll let you guys know. So it was just one of the things with it's the price point. That was one of the things that was an issue for them. The price point for the ATM. Right now, charging $12K for an ATM in a market that was flattened down was something that didn't necessarily wasn't something that was amenable for them. But that's just something that goes with the game, because this is about a game of probabilities. So when you have one prospect and you present the positive benefits and the features of the ATM, does it fit? What was the problem? And sometimes it's the price, and that's something that we have to deal with. Will I lower it? Now I'm taking that into consideration. So it's earning fees, but it's earning fees. That's one of the main reasons they didn't like it. Another reason was the price point. Another reason as well was there was some complaints, but I don't see it as a huge issue about the user interface. The user interface on the ATM was something whereby it's touchscreen, and then scrolling down and pressing it, that caused some issues, particularly for older. I was told 57. Yeah. So that was around the price point, but with the markup coming from another member. There was another member of the community. He did his markup. But then that's what hurt the whole deal happening. So this will stop people from dumping. Let me see, Kiyaki. Can we not decrease the ROI? In the new project, we're going to try to keep the ROI pretty much the same in terms of the original schedule of LPC and or LG. We have to look to see what the schedule is moving. But I'm not looking to dump a lot of coin on the market for Masternode rewards. But we may do some rebalancing for staking because I see it as being important. But yet at the same time, the maximum amount, including the stake and the masternode reward paid to the masternode, I'm looking to keep that pretty much the same with the schedule. But people are going to dump, and that's just what happens. Why are the Telegram groups still under the influence of Prolog when groups of Telegram will be created? When we do the merge, we're rolling out entirely new channels. So we're getting rid of and as mentioned earlier, I think it was James who mentioned, hey, this needs to start all over again. Maybe that's the case. But yet I know we have over 3,000 masternode owners who might want to keep the brand, but at the same time, and keep the coin supply low, including the max supply. And this is what we have to consider, Kiwi Rock, in the max supply. We also need to have that at least 20% for treasury. So it's 15-20% treasury, so we have the ability to pay other members on the team. So it makes sense to have a treasury, which we didn't have a large treasury the first time around. The LPC, that treasury was, or the pre-mine, was 0.43%. 0.43%. 0.43%, not even 1%. So in the long term, I don't know, and I didn't have any say in that. It didn't necessarily make any sense. I think 11 million max supply would be perfect. All the scam coin has 21 supply. Let's differentiate. But if we add it, if we're doing a 1-to-1 swap on Kiwi, and right now we have about 6 million on LPC, about 3 or 4 million on LGS, 3 to 4 and 6. You're looking at 9 to 10 million already. But yet we still need to have that 15% treasury, something that we have in place, either set up an apps masternode to pay people. It's one of the things that we won't, that we're tapped out over that 11 million max supply. You can name it light chain coin, light chain, maybe a light chain with some, but there will be an analytics component. There will be a storage component. So there'll be analytics. There'll be data that can be stored, not just coin transactions. So we're looking at being able to store microtransactions from any type of records. And like right now, there are prospects that we have who want to place diplomas, micro certifications on a chain. It's a good name, but at the same time, we need to be able to do more than just have transactions on our coin for payments. I think payments should be a part of it, but we should also be able to store data like we're storing on IPFS and registering the storage of that asset in time, that timestamp onto our chain with the mix and with the jets and the pilot that we've done. But at the same time, we will be missing some advantages. Right now, like on BlockNet, I think it's BlockNet, we're able to do cross-chain atomic swaps on BlockNet right now. We need to be able to have some conversation with the guys over there to get the new coin put on there as well. So, but I like the positivity. It was negative coming out the gate, man. Damn, Mosey wanted to freaking castrate me. Just come on over and just chop off my balls. He just came in like swinging. So, and right now we have a plan. The thing is to stick with the plan and execute. Over these next few months, we will be very focused in terms of how we do work. We will be very focused in building out the team our core team that we have in place. If John decides that he wants to be a part of it, he can come on. It's up to him. If he wants to say, okay, I'm going to stay with LPC, wants to stay with LPC, the chain as currently exists. Right now, he already has the sport files. Go ahead, Charlie Mike, as they say in the military, continue mission. so he can continue. He can start building right now. But right now, I've opened up a line of communication for him that some people may perceive it as like a split in the community. I don't necessarily, because I know what we will be doing with our partners and partners that we brought in, the products that we've built so far, extending out XChainZ as well, being able to support that new wallet, being able to do the swap, and then finding out how many of the other exchanges will be doing that swap as well. So right now it's 9:44, and as you can see, I've been running my mouth the whole time. I don't have my water. I'm drinking a gallon of water today to try to get right because I'm kind of dry. So with that said, I'm gonna close this out. Thank you for your time. For those who hung around, we got 18 watching. That's our peak. The peak number of folks watching. I do appreciate you guys, but keep me accountable. And I think Mosey's gonna Mosey will be the one who filed a suit, so y'all could go ahead and see him as the point of contact, and make sure that the attorney you get is he's a beast. So cutting off my balls, man. That's yeah. No, that's not even humane. I don't know who does that these days. I read a book about, it was a, I don't want to mention, but it was a Catholic priest um, who was accused of like abusing some kids, and I think it was either the Klan or somebody or some group. That's what. Yeah, it was a Klan. They came in. They took this Catholic priest and castrated him because he was abusing the kids in the neighborhood, and they threw him in front of the church, and they didn't have any balls anymore. That kind of that's gross. But I'll get you the name of that book. I think it was a book about my hometown in Florida, where the Klan was chopping out balls. Right now, I don't want Moses to chop my balls off. So let me get out of here because I know I'm talking crazy right about now. But I do appreciate you guys coming on, giving me help. I need it. We need to stay accountable. Somebody needs to be accountable at this point. It's almost like a solo ship at this point. I know CT has been with me since the days of Howard and wrestling team. He's a wrestler too. And then, like I said, Mirage has been a beast. Like I mentioned earlier, he got an award, and I want to show you guys because he goes under the radar in our network. I'm gonna go here and let me see. I'm gonna go here. Let me see. View my post. Pull up some. Let's see. This is where we actually went down for the Jets and did that. Did some assessments. And right here. This is Mirage. He's a monster, guys. So he does a lot of work with us, and listed cybersecurity analyst, and all of his credit goes under our name. So let's see. I'm going back. Let me go back. See, I must say, what I received today is one of my greatest achievements so far. I feel very blessed to have my name listed in the Hall of Fame on the United Nations website. Now, this is the United Nations, and I've realized that following passion without greed of success will eventually produce fruitless results. He's somebody who doesn't come on to the webinar, but has done a hell of a lot for our community in terms of getting our name out there and doing different things. Talking about ethical hacking and doing work for LPC. And he's a guy, he's very selfless. It was a case that I was getting on my LinkedIn profile followed by like the World Bank, and then like various companies, and then I got contacted by Oracle and said, hey, is this your dude? And I was like, yeah, he's in our Hall of Fame because he found some exploits in Oracle. So, and he did the same thing for AT&T. And I vouch for him every time that he goes in and he plugs around, finds some holes in different websites. But he's doing this for the good of saying that everybody in blockchain is not bad. Everybody in cryptocurrency is not bad. So when I got a follow the other day, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, from one of the lead cybersecurity analysts at the UN, I was like, oh, what the hell have I done? But it was at the point I'm saying, what are they watching me for now? But it was at the position where Mirage went ahead and he found some exploits in the UN's website and the things that they've done. So I think it's great to see him actually reported a cross-site scripting, that's with XSS, a vulnerability on UN.org on the 5th of November. So he's been doing a heck of a lot of work, in the name of LPC, and we're getting that credit for him. We're getting that credit for what he's done, and he's teaching me some tricks too, and being able to lock down XChainZ as well. So in building out the new blockchain, his recommendations will feature prominently. Perhaps there will be some cybersecurity aspects of the new project as we begin to build it out and launch it. But he's been here from day one, and he's been very faithful under the ground, and he's been banging. And I think you guys should give him a lot of credit in terms of what he's done as well, because he's really lifted our profile these past ever since we started the project. He came on board, and no necessarily he gave recommendations, followed the recommendations. He's hacked a couple of our sites. He did some white hat testing of potential partner sites, and he did some hacking of some exchanges as well, and giving recommendations. Even with Cryptopia, when it got hacked the first time, he said, okay, Damon, I communicated with them, I found some more exploits they need to fix. I don't know if they paid attention to it, but what eventually happened, they got hacked again. But and now they're out of business. But he's gonna keep us safe, and I depend on him, and I put a lot of faith in Mirage. He's a wonderful dude, and if you guys get a chance, I think he's I can't remember his tag in Discord. Go ask around. I think he'll show up in the Discord channel, and give this guy some follow him on Twitter. I think it's NTT. I think that's his tag. So go in if you guys want to be a community member. Go start a profile on LinkedIn and put say community member like Acorn, and then connect with Mirage. And we're out here. So he's a solid member of the team. Like I said, does white hat testing, penetration testing for us, but really a solid dude. So kudos to him as well. Kudos to Stake Cube for adding us to their exchange as well. And we're still waiting on these three I mentioned earlier with Bittrex, Nova, and Greendex. Greendex and Nova, I applied to those today. So if you hear something from them, that's great. If you don't, that's fine too, because like we're going to Charlie Mike or continue mission. So thank you guys for your time, and we'll talk next. Let me see. I think the draft is going on next week, but if something happens, I'll let you go. Don't just consider me like AOL. You, like I said, hit me up on LinkedIn and send me a note, and then we can go from there. But I do appreciate your time, guys. It's almost 9:52, an hour and a half, running my mouth the whole time, just running. All right, you guys take care. So let me see. We're out.